Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. So, no one's ever asked me that question directly. I'm going to try to answer it the best that I can. The first four images in that video of like me wearing the mask, me having the rash all around my eyes, being in bed exhausted and crying, those were the majority of the last probably 3 years ago at this point. And the first image is from me in the hospital when I started having left eye blindness and droopiness, and I got diagnosed with a hemiplegic migraine. The second, the rashes, was the early signs of what we suspect to be MCAS. So I was having super high histamine reactions and no doctor knew what was going on, and they just didn't go away. So I could touch something, eat something, be around something, and all of a sudden I would flare up, get swollen, get a rash, and need to take Benadryl because my throat would feel like it was closing. The third image was from me basically losing all hope in myself that I could actually make it out of this because no doctor could figure out what was wrong. And then the fourth image was me during an active POTS episode. Now, all of this to say, my health journey has been well documented on TikTok. So the POTS side of it, I have an entire playlist dedicated to that. But how I healed looked very different in different stages, and it mainly came down to my ability to trust myself and receive support at the same time, two things that I was not doing. So when I initially got sick, I didn't trust myself at all. When I had the hemiplegic migraine and my eye was drooping and like my body was just kind of like weak on one side and every doctor was like, it's a migraine, my initial reaction was, no, it's not. And I ended up being proven right because now doctors suspect that it was probably mono or an undiagnosed sign of like one of the earlier strains of COVID. But at the time, I just kept saying, it's not a migraine, it's not a migraine, and no one was listening to me. And I also was refusing help from the people around me. So I didn't let my partner care for me. I didn't let my parents care for me. I didn't want anybody to see how badly that I was in it. I also was not getting better. So my resistance to help and support actually made my symptoms and my entire experience 10,000 times worse. The moment that I moved home after my graduate program, I actually did end up getting a bit healthier. I was still experiencing some migraine symptoms, but I got healthier because I had people taking care of me. Then I got COVID 3 times within a 6-month span. And the second time that I got it was when I started showing POTS symptoms. And again, I repeated the pattern of the first 6 months of not accepting support. And it's mainly just because I didn't know what was going on and no doctor knew what was going on. And this really challenged my belief in the medical system because I had fully gone into it saying a doctor will know what to do. And to be faced time and time again with doctors saying, we don't know what it is, we also think you made it up, infuriated me. And I was not mentally, physically, or emotionally strong enough to lean into my own self-belief that intuitively I could get myself out of this. So I basically just stopped trying. And that's the God honest truth. There is a year of my life where I just did not try. I did not go outside because I was physically too weak. Mentally, I couldn't handle it. There was no resiliency. There was nothing there. I could not get out of it, even with the help of my parents. At that point I had moved in with them because I could not take care of myself. My mom would need to make sure that I made it out of the shower because I would typically be unable to stand in there or be on the verge of fainting. I started having the POTS shakes and no one knew what was going on. And there was a huge narrative from doctors that it was psychosomatic and that I had caused it myself. And it took a really long time for me to challenge that in a way that was not hostile and angry, but challenge that in a way that said, I trust me more than I trust you. And when you walk into a room with that type of confidence, a doctor weirdly is like, okay. As opposed to me coming in and saying, you don't know what you're doing and I know what I'm doing. That hostility doesn't allow for healing on any side, at least not for me. And so I had to learn how to believe in myself and that I could find a way out of it. The way that I chose to do it was through intuitive work. So I trained with energy practitioners because I was having kind of a psychic opening at the time. And I started training with energy practitioners who helped me understand that I was still in control of a lot of things, even if my body was not doing the things that I wish it was doing or acting in a healthy way. The intuitive work then led me to the somatic work, where I did have to unpack a lot of the trauma that I had not touched from years before. One of the things that I had difficulty with in Boston was that I had two instances. One of being like approached on the street and like someone like tried to grab me, and then the other one was I was like stalked in a record store. And I could not unpack those two situations. I also could not unpack a lot of intimacy trauma that had happened prior to me moving to Boston. Relationship stuff that I had just like buried, that I didn't know how to talk about. And because of that, all of those repressed memories and all of those traumatic experiences felt like if I opened Pandora's box, my entire life was going to fall apart. And then at a certain point, I realized my entire life was already falling apart. So what did I really have to lose? Like, if I was able to handle the fact that my body was shaking uncontrollably, if I was having instances of fainting, if I had no one believing me, like, what the hell did I have to lose if I was talking about stuff from 10 years ago, or confronting fears that I had around my own physical safety on the street? And at a certain point, I was just like, F it, it's fine, we're gonna talk about it. When that happened, when I finally embraced like talking about trauma, I then noticed a pattern of behavior that I started realizing how strong I had been this whole time, even though I didn't give myself the due. And that was really the main turning point. Like, the moment that I was like, look at how freaking strong you've been. Look at how much you have been through. Nobody even knows the half of what I have experienced. Not even my parents, who witnessed half of it. But like, no one can comprehend the amount of strength that it has taken for me to pull myself out of the depths of hell. And if that is the case, what makes me think that I cannot get out of this? And the moment that I started recognizing that I had strength and I had autonomy, every single thing changed, because the way that I healed changed. I was no longer in the passenger seat of my life. I was in the driver's seat, and I was able to say, this is how I'm going to heal. This is what I'm going to do. And here is why I'm going to do it. So I invested time and energy in learning about my health, learning about the ways that the systems of the body worked, learning what therapies were effective or not, even if they were not listed as like POTS protocol. For me, the migraine protocols never worked. They were never effective, despite every doctor being like, you have migraines, these are gonna help you. Nothing ever helped. The moment that I started actually listening to my body and saying, it's not a migraine, I'm getting headaches because I have neck pain, let's deal with that. And I actually started uncovering the root causes and believing myself that I could and would find the answer. And it's not me looking for the broken part of the body, it's me looking for where things were getting stuck, was the moment that my body started feeling safer to talk to my mind and to my emotions. And I know that that's a really weird way to say it, but the best way that I can describe me while I was like very sick was that my body operated on a completely different playing field than my mental state and my emotional state, and everything was disjointed. The moment that I started trusting myself and creating safety, my body, my mind, and my emotions were all talking to each other, and I was actually able to find a way out of it. The last iteration of the story of how I healed was how I actually built confidence that my strength was not a fluke, and that I could be strong every day, and I didn't need to go through trauma to build strength. That I could actually just choose myself every day and believe in myself and trust that it would work out, and know that like I can get through it no matter what life throws at me. And a product of that that's a product of, yes, me having extremely traumatic experiences that I would never wish on anyone. But the other half of it came down to me believing that this version of life was not what I was meant to live, and that it could and it would get better. And my life right now is a testament to that. Like, I live such a different life in the best way. And I attribute that fully to me believing in myself more than I believed in anyone else around me. And me believing, frankly, that there was a force out there that was working in my favor and not against me.